Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Weekend Winners in association with Bet Victor. This is your go-to show for your best bets ahead of the weekend. And this weekend we are previewing Saturday's Ascot Victoria Cup card. So plenty to go to all with lots of competitive handicaps on offer. And I'm being joined, as always, by Declan Ricks of AtTheRaces.com and Sam Boswell of Bet Victor. Declan, though, you're not resting on your laurels after tipping Caldine last week, I hope.
Caldine, yeah, we're going to pronounce it. We're going to pronounce it right now.
Yeah, we butchered that, didn't we, last week on the show?
We did. Apologies to the horse and all those at Juddmonte. But yeah, look, it was maybe the Guineas fell apart a little bit with the two Ballydoyle horses not running up to form, but he's just such a likeable horse. You know, I do like him. He's got a lovely way of going, seems to enjoy his job. But the game stops for nobody and we move on swiftly. So we've got Chester now, we've got Ascot, Lingfield. I just wish it had stopped raining, but apart from that, everything's good.
Oh, I know. Like, as Dex just said, though, Sam, the weather has played havoc with us. We're previewing Ascot, but we're expecting pretty testing conditions, are we?
Yeah, I've just about dried out from Chester, where I was for most of the week. And Save the Last Dance, very impressive. 6-4 favourite, anti-post now for the Oaks. But yeah, we've got loads to get stuck into. Really good cards. Looking forward to trying to find some winners.
Yes, and before we try and find said winners, a reminder to please do gamble responsibly and that our tips are not guaranteed to win, but we will still do our best to point you in the right direction anyway. And also a reminder to like and subscribe to the At The Races YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. Right, we will crack on with our first race, which is the first race on Ascot's card on Saturday as well. This is the 1:30. This is a 0 to 95 handicap, 4-year-olds and over a mile four. Pretty open opener here for us though, Declan. So who are you siding with?
Yeah, it is good. It is an open race. I thought maybe the race was a little bit more open than the betting suggested, because I'm just not sure Nathaniel Green and the likes of Savvy Knight will want it this soft. We'll see how it plays out, but I was hoping to take on them. Sir Rummy will handle conditions very well, but he's gone up in the handicap again after a recent win. And I thought I'd take a swing at a horse at a big price here, and I went for a Rhythmic Intent. He's a horse who usually comes on from his first run. He made a satisfactory start to the season at Epsom. He was a big drifter in the market as well, and he kind of ran like it. I think he'll come forward nicely for that run. He's a horse who stays well. He's got form over 14 furlongs as well. Handles cutting the ground. Now, whether he wants it this soft is also debatable with him, but we're getting a much bigger price. I think he'll handle the ground better than the likes of maybe Savvy Knight or Nathaniel Green. Stuart Williams is going very well at the moment. I think he's operating at about a 23% strike rate. Stays well. I think the stiff nature of the track will suit him. So I thought maybe taking the chance of one at a bit of a flyer out, Rhythmic Intent, could hopefully get us off to a good start on Saturday.
We've made a good case anyway there to kickstart it. So we've got to live up to that now, Sam. So who are you siding with?
Yeah, not nearly a bigger price for me. I like Sarumi, and I think Declan's touched on it already. The ground is going to be key. It's going to be a bit of a theme, I think, throughout this episode. And he definitely handles the conditions, which is a massive tick in his box. And he's been really busy, actually, this season already with the 3 runs, 2 of them on turf. The opening race at Donny that he took in, he stayed on really nicely over 1 mile too. I think that trip definitely was just a little bit too short. The blowout at Kempton did concern me slightly, but I'm willing to put a line through that, having seen him bounce back so effectively under William Buick at Epsom. Great ride from William. If you watch the replay, he knows exactly how to ride Epsom when it's soft. Came over, nabbed the rail, and he's up to 94 now as a mark, so he's going to need to kick on and improve a little bit more. I think there's some more to potentially come from him here, and I thought he was a bit of a safer proposition than the likes of High Fibre, who's going to have his first ever run on really soft ground for Harry Fry, and I just kind of wanted to find something to take the favourite on, who I thought was a little bit short at 3-1.
Yeah, and I think that we've both kind of touched on that as well, that 3-1 at the head of the market is looking a bit short in what is such an open race in itself. But we're going for 3 different selections here, because I am with Savvy Knight. So we're all taking on the favourite at least, but we are then going for 3 different selections. And this is super competitive. I was between Savvy Knight and High Fibre to start with, but I came down on the side of Savvy Knight, mainly because he has that 1 run to his name already this season, which is what I'm really looking for in terms of the trends for this race anyway. And he was very good at this time of year last season, winning his first 3. His season did tail off somewhat, but he bounced right back to form though last time out when he finished 4th, and he was only beaten 1 length there in a really competitive race at Kempton, and he still remains unexposed as a 4-year-old, and just the way that he made up ground last time out from off of the pace was really likeable, and it just showed a definite bounce back to form for me. So catching him at this time of year, I think think is going to be key for him. Good draw as well in 10. Obviously, we're going to get a few pointers towards the draws today as well. But in this race from the trends, I'm going for that higher draw. So stall 10 then, and Savvy Knight's one I want to keep on side. But just to reiterate, Deck.
Yeah, it's going to be Rhythmic and 10 for me, please.
And Sam, third and final.
Sarumi for me.
Right, there you go. Hopefully that's helped you out with the opener. You're very welcome. Do let us know your own selections for the race in the comment section below. Now we're going to move on to the 205 at Fillies handicap over a mile. Lots of unexposed types though in here, Sam. Timeless Melody just about heads the way at the head of the market for William Haggis, who had a good Chester week. But how did you see this race?
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? And I think this is a really competitive field. And I thought the 7-2 actually about Timeless Melody was a really nice price, and I'm going to be tipping her up. And I think it's interesting, left Godolphin to join William Haggis, and the 2 runs for Godolphin were reasonable enough. And one of those, I think, did come on softer ground. And she lost out on her second start to a William Haggis trained horse who I thought was quite a nice prospect as well. And there's plenty to suggest I think she's going to be a really nice improving type. And, you know, you look back through it, her win at Leicester where she wore down a horse that has since won, come second, it's actually the 3rd and the 4th from that race have gone on to win. There's some real substance to that form. I'm a big fan. I thought 7-2 was fine. Adam Farrer takes a handy 3 off as well. I thought 7-2, I'd have a play on the favourite.
Yeah, and sorry to butt in though, Deck, because I'm in total agreement here about Timeless Melody as well, where of course there are a whole host of unexposed types in here, but Timeless Melody for me, she just has any amount of scope off of this current mark. And I say it's fascinating that she was with Top Connections. She's now joined more Top Connections, but it was a really sort of
strange
interesting
move. You wouldn't see
it was. You don't see it very often at all. So naturally, you're drawn to that straight away anyway. But she has that really interesting profile, and I think that she managed to build on what she had shown on her Sabre debut then last time out, overcoming that lengthy absence as well. Like I say, the form looks rock solid, and just her stamina really came to the fore over the 7 furlong trip there. So I have no issue with her whatsoever stepping up by an extra furlong, by the way that she reeled in the horse that went clear about a furlong out from home there. Was super likeable from her. Great attitude as well. And this opening mark of 80, I think, underestimates her. So, you feeling ganged up on, or are you going to join in?
Yeah, I am a little bit. Yeah, we'll see. I'm going to take a swing at a bigger price again. I'm going to go for Sly Madam. I think the 2 of you guys have got the right favourite anyway. You know, handling conditions is going to be very important. But I just think when I looked at that market, I just looked. Julia Augusta, Mountain Song, 2 of those, to kind of the 4, the market, they look like very good movers to me, and horses who might want a lot better ground. Timeless Melody, the form has worked out. I didn't know what to make of that when she won at Leicester. I thought she was maybe a little bit fortunate that the runner-up kind of hung away and gave her the race, and the finishing speed percentage, I think, was 93.68. I'd actually love a similar kind of setup in this race. I would love for Belhaven, Mountain Song and Bacara Rose all to go flat out and have a bit of a pace collapse, because I think that will play into Sly Madam hands. She's £10 better off with Belhaven, who beat her comfortably at Nottingham the last time, but that was around a bend. It's going to be a different type of race. I'll hopefully run at a much stronger pace. I'd love more rain for Sly Madam, if anything. I just think maybe the race would set up well for her, and she's given that I don't think a good few to the head of the market will handle the ground. We know she definitely will, and she's been in good form so far this season.
See, very much citing conditions so far with your selection.
No, exactly. Yeah, you know, big time. I don't think the ground would want to be too soft for Rhythmic intent, but after the first, let it rain. Let it rain. Let it rain.
If you could just time it to perfection,
exactly,
and if you manage to achieve that, well, goodness me, then your predictions are even better than we thought. We'll cite you as a weatherman rather than a tipster from now on. Right, that is our preview of that race. Again, do let us know your own selections in the comment section below. Now we move on to the feature race on Ascot's card on Saturday. This is the Victoria Cup, a really competitive heritage handicap over 7 furlongs. Comes up at 240. Wide open as usual with some very smart handicaps in here. But Sam, I'm going to come to you first though, because I believe you have a pretty strong selection in this.
Yeah, it's 7-1 the field, and Baradar for me is the one I really, really like here. We've spoken a bit about ground. Absolutely fine on whatever we end up with today. Saturday, I should say. If it gets really, really soft, not a problem. If it eases up a little bit, it's absolutely fine. A really interesting horse. Had 3 different trainers already. George Bowie now in his care. He's had 1 run for him, and I just thought that seasonal reappearance was a pretty fine effort. Trainers ticking over really nicely. I think the big field experience, he's had it. might not have run too well at Royal Ascot, but I'm not particularly concerned by that. You can forgive a horse that. There's a lot of boxes ticked for me. He's a 5-year-old. 4-year-olds have a fantastic record in this race, but he's relatively lightly raced, and I just felt he was a big price for something that you know will handle the conditions, has had a prep run ideally for this, I imagine, and will have been laid out for the race. He's a fantastic horse. Really looking forward to seeing how he goes here.
Right, teed it up as a strong selection, and you have followed through with that, Sam, so we appreciate that a lot. Strong start to this very competitive race, so Deck, but who do you like?
Yeah, it is competitive. I should just say, when I went through the race, I didn't see an awful lot of pace in here, and I think if you're going to be drawn middle to high is going to be the place to be. I think Zip is drawn in 1. He likes to go forward, but I think those horses drawn low might struggle a little bit. I don't want to be on a proper hold-up horse who, you know, kind of needs kind of a pace collapse, that kind of setup. Biggles is the one for me. I think, you know, he's a prominent racer, usually likes to track the leaders. As a horse last year, as we saw at Doncaster and Newbury, absolutely thrives on soft and on heavy ground. And I actually could not believe how well he ran in a competitive handicap at Haydock on his seasonal debut. You know, the ground there was good to firm, and he ran an absolute screamer. Now, maybe he was on the front end and it looked like a race where horses were struggling to make up ground. But look, he's a very likeable horse. He's straightforward and handles cutting the ground. The other thing I would say is there's quite a lot of exposed horses in here. I think there's only 4 4-year-olds in the race, so it's not going to be like that typical kind of handicap where you'd be looking to the younger generation to come through. A lot of exposed win-ins there. I know the selection, Biggles is a 6-year-old, but he's only had 13 runs. Rafe Beckett among the winners still. Pat Dobbs got good hands, will settle him. So yeah, I just thought Biggles would run well again, as long as conditions ride kind of pretty soft. But in saying that, he ran so well on good to firm ground last time. If he loses, I can't really use the ground as an excuse. But I think Biggles will go well at a big price.
And I'm in total agreement with you as well. It is Biggles for me too, not just because he has a brilliant name, but he's so likeable, isn't he? And for some reason, I adore 7 furlong contests. I don't really know why, to be honest with you. I think it's because we have such a lack of them in high class contests. So they're so unique, though. They ask just such a different question of horses because of the way that the high cruising speed they have to have that's sustained, and that's why you just see 7 furlong horses coming back time and time again and just winning contests and running up to form. And Biggles is certainly a proper 7 furlong specialist, isn't he? And I think 6 of his 13 career starts he's won, 5 of those coming over 7 furlongs and just the 1 over 6, and that was in a novice in his first win anyway. So we know that 7 furlongs is optimal for him. Like you say, I think he's pretty ground versatile, but soft conditions do not hinder him whatsoever anyway. And just on his reappearance, he was just a bit keen and fresh. So, and he just paid for that in the closing stages. So I'm hoping that will just knock the sharpness off of him there, and hopefully he'll settle that bit better here. I think this is a very fair mark for him, off of a mark of 100 anyway. So it is Biggles for the pair of us two, but Sam?
Barrowed for me, but I must just say Biggles does meet plenty of the trends aside from the age stat, so you could be onto something.
I know, I was ticking off boxes as I went, and age is one of the first things I looked at, so I was a bit like, oh. But yeah, no, we are hoping that he's going to buck that trend at least anyway, because of the lack of unexposed 4-year-olds then in this race. Again, do let us know your own selections for the race. And now we're going to move on to our final scheduled race then that we're going to be covering from Ascot on Saturday. And this is a 0 to 90 handicap over 10 furlongs at 3:45. We don't have betting available for this race at the time of recording, but our producer Inigo has really teed us up this week because he has given us no end of tricky handicaps to solve. So Declan, you're up first to solve this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with King's Code here. He's a horse that ran 3 times last year, so he meets this is going to be his first run in a handicap. Had run in 3 warmish novice events, I would say. The first 2 times he ran, I think it was Leicester the first day and Chester this day. Didn't really acquit himself that well. Ran well, but he just looked like a horse who either needed a trip or he just didn't have a clue what his job was about. But it was nice to see him run out when he stepped up in trip 2. I think it was about 9 furlongs of Goodwood on his final start. He just ran a more solid kind of race. And then actually when I digged deeper into his pedigree, there's an awful lot of stamina on the distaff side of his page. I think going up in trip is really going to suit him. He's bred to be much better than 72. He's by Saxon Warrior. His dam was a listed winner as well over 12 furlongs, I think, and on soft ground. Saxon Warrior as well, talking to and listening to a few bloodstock experts at the start of the season, they were all saying that they think his progeny will progress throughout the season. You know, rated 72, son of Saxon Warrior, Dam, a listed winner. You know, he's bred to be an awful lot better than this, and I think going out and trip on a stiff track like Ascot's really going to suit him as well. Have to have a look at the market as per, you know, going to be first start to the season, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if he was ready to go and the vibes about him were good. I wouldn't be surprised if they sent him off favourite, because it looks a very winnable race for an unexposed horse.
Yeah, so going with the unexposed angle then for the Saxon Warrior to progress them throughout the season. And like I say, on that pedigree, he should really be rating better than this current mark anyway. So, Sam, who do you like?
A good argument, but Westonton for Alan King was the one that caught my eye. I think you kind of go back over the Doncaster run, which was his handicap debut. He got nudged up £1 for that, but he got beaten by a very, very impressive winner, Wonder Legend, who absolutely hosed up here. But he ran a really good race. The handicapper obviously felt he had to put him up £1 for it. We know he handles the soft ground. Just watching this VT of him here, you can see what the conditions are like there. I think as well, just going back through his Nottingham maiden, finished in front of Like a Tiger, who's gone on to win twice and then was pitched into listed company. So there's a bit of substance to that sort of early-ish form. He's still relatively unexposed for all just the one start in handicap company. And I think today, on this occasion, we were watching the VTF, he just bumped into one who was a very smart horse, and he still finished in front of some OK runners in a small field. He's going to have to step forward again, but I think he can do it here.
If by the smallest of chances it makes you feel any better, he was my second pick.
Oh, Deck, that has made my day. Thank you.
No,
It's not too late to change your mind, Sam.
We've got the reverse forecast, Kate.
Oh, well, I'm going to throw into the mix and add that then for a trifecta for the three of us, because another different opinion in a race then, because I'm siding against a pair of you two, even though you're in sort of agreement anyway, because I struggled with this race. Great start to my intro for it, but I wasn't overly sure about the unexposed horses in here, which one I really wanted to come down on the side of. So when in doubt, go with what you know, go with the more exposed horse, and that is Shabazz in here, who we know plenty more about anyway. And he signed off his 2-year-old campaign with a soft ground win over 9 furlongs, and he very much ran up to that form on his reappearance, on the back of a 172-day absence, on the back of a gelding operation, and he just got outstayed by proper stayers last time out, finishing 3rd, but it was just a solid seasonal debut where he can hopefully build on that off of the same mark in the cheek pieces that have worked so well for him. So I'm going more exposed than with Shabazz, but Sam?
Westonton for me.
Deck?
And a week after the coronation, it's King's Coat for me.
Oh, how notable, how topical. That knighthood will be coming your way before too long, I'm sure. Sir Deck, what a line that would be for him. Again, do let us know your own selections for the race. Maybe it's something different to the 3 we've already given you in this race then, but do let us know in the comment section below. Now we're going to head over to the SkyPad, where I'm going to be getting the lads' best bets for the weekend. Now it's time to reveal our best bets for the weekend. So our nap, next best, and our long shot. And Deck, you are up first.
Yes, with all the rain at Linkfield and Haydock potentially watering on a mixed kind of card there, I didn't want to go there, so I've stuck with what we've covered already. The nap is going to be at Ascot. It's going to be King's Code. I think a mark of 72 could be very workable for this son of Saxon Warrior. His dam is a listed winner, I think, on soft ground over 10 or 12 furlongs. He's bred to be a hell of a lot better than this, and going up and trip at a stiff track will suit him. Biggles in the Victoria Cup we've already touched on as well. A 6-year-old, you generally wouldn't look to these kind of horses in a competitive race like this, but there doesn't look to be loads of unexposed sorts in this race this season. He's an atypical 6-year-old anyway. I think he's only had 13 starts. He made a brilliant comeback at Haydock, where I thought the ground was going to be way too quick for him. Likes to race on the pace, track the leaders in a race that I don't see a lot of pace. I can see the race falling well for him. And again, Slime Adam, we've already touched on. She's going to run in the 205, the fillies handicap there. I'm hoping that there's a 2 or 3 horses that like to push on in that race and go forward. I would love a bit of a pace collapse for her, because she's a proper hold-up horse, and let it rain. But would you like a Brucey bonus this week?
Oh, we would.
Would you like a Brucey bonus? Run to Freedom runs at Haydock this weekend, and he can be backed at 40-1 for the QE2, I think it's been named, hasn't it? The Queen Elizabeth II Platinum Jubilee Stakes at Royal Ascot. I could easily see him going off 8s or 9s. He's by Muharar. He's a half-brother to Twilight Sun. His pedigree suggests he's going to be even better this season. Henry Candy started his campaign well. He's got lots of straight track form at Ascot as well. He's maybe one to get onside anti-post before he runs at Haydock on Saturday.
Brucey, bonus for us and everything then from Declan, Sam. I hope you've got something similar up your sleeve. But first and foremost, your 3 best bets, please.
Yeah, let's kick on with the 3 best bets. Baradar in the Victoria Cup for me is going to be where I'm going to kick off. 7-1, nice price, and you know, if you want to be an absolute each-way thief, I'm sure we'll be paying an extra place on there. Biker, we're going to go back in. It's a mixed card at Haydock, by the way, which I think is so sad we don't have more of these. I think they're fantastic. I know it's not ideal for jockeys, but Biker, last seen finishing second to Matty Jazz in the Boodles, a big field handicap experience, really unexposed in the context of this kind of race. Only nudged up £4 for that run, 9 to 2, and I think he'll probably go off a bit shorter. And then Pull Again Green for Fergal O'Brien's team in the opener at Haydock. It'd be a big price. I think he's kind of in a little bit at the deep end still in comparison to what he's achieved so far to date. The run at Aintree, though, I think you can put a line through that. The better ground should suit, which fingers crossed will get as long as they don't water too much and the rain turns up. And the jockey on board, Jack Hogan's having a good time of things as well at the moment. So I thought that was an each-way squeak.
You just won't let go of the jumps, will you? Just won't let go of those bloody jumps.
Never did.
Never, exactly. He'll be getting his long shot at Newton Abbott and everything then throughout the summer. We can predict that. Now, my own best bets, though, for the weekend. So Manap is actually your next best bet, Deck, which is Biggles, because he's a 7 furlong specialist. Conditions to suit him. Hopefully he'll settle better than last time out. And over the 7 furlongs here, hopefully he can take his tally to 7 from 14 starts then for him. So he will be the main play for me. Next best, though, is going to be Savvy Knight from his good high draw, which I really wanted for that particular race. One runner ready to his name this season, and that was a good return to form, which all hopefully bodes well for him to come good again at this time of the year. Now, my long shot, I also can't let go of the jumps either, because I'm going to the Swinton Hurdle. Cannot resist a play in the Swinton Hurdle. It's such a competitive race year on year. Up at Haydock, comes up at 3:15, and I'm siding with Black Poppy here for Kerry Lee. Interesting jockey booking then of Adam Wedge as well. He was a winner when we last saw him. That was at Cheltenham's April meeting. He did that very convincingly. He is going to have to defy a career high mark this time around, but he just remains a fresher horse than most in this race, because he is lightly raced from this season, so hopefully he's a horse with more to come. But my proper long shot, though, far more interesting than any of the horses. I have backed Switzerland, Eurovision, each way. I don't know how many places I've got, to be honest with you. Got him at 150 to 1, into 80 to 1. Big market mover, though, but that's a one, though, for me. Sam, I can guarantee you'll have a Eurovision selection.
I will. I mean, well boring, though. Sweden are odds on, and, you know, according to the experts, already more or less home and hosed. The singers amassed plenty of interest on TikTok and apparently all these youth platforms that are really important. So I'll be very boring and I'll probably put Sweden up. But it's always good fun, isn't it? Deck, you a big Eurovision fan?
No, there's just too much racing this time of year, you know. I'd love to, but I see Ireland didn't qualify.
No, rightly so.
Like the football.
Getting themselves handicapped for next year. All right, calm down. Bloody hell. We beat you in cricket once upon a time. Come on.
You're still holding on to that anyway.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, like I say, you're used to not qualifying for things, but do enjoy Eurovision. Declan will be supporting any other country apart from the United Kingdom, guaranteed, but do enjoy that yourselves. That's everything from us on this week's show. Big thank you to Deck and to Sam for all of their hard work. Do remember that you can watch all of Ascot's action live on Sky Sports Racing, as well as Lingfield's action, where we have the Derby and the Oaks trials on Saturday. And on Sunday, we have the French Guineas live on the channel as well. So there is so much action to go to war with. Next weekend, we will be back looking ahead at Newbury's Lockinge meeting. So do make sure that you join us for then.